You thought she wasn't into you. She didn't flirt, didn't double text, didn't send a you up text or blow up your DMs with fire emojis, so naturally, you backed off. You told yourself she was just being polite, or worse, that you imagined the whole thing. You walked away thinking, well, that was nothing, but something about it still nags at you. But here's the weird part. You didn't even notice it at first. Just a glance here, a coincidence there, and it hits you in waves. Not all at once, but in the way she lingers just long enough to be noticed, then vanishes like nothing happened. It's maddening, because you feel something real, but you're not sure if it's real enough. She kept randomly showing up where you were. Your favorite coffee shop, she was there. Your gym, same treadmill, new leggings, and that subtle smile like she's not even trying, but definitely is. You post a story, she views it in the first 10 seconds, but never replies. And every now and then, she asks about the most random thing. Hey, weren't you trying intermittent fasting? Or, did you end up reading that book on Stoicism you mentioned? Because if you're wrong, you look like a delusional simp. And if you're right, well, that's even scarier. You start connecting dots, but you don't trust the picture. Because she still acts cold. Still throws you into confusion with that blank, unreadable look. Still replies, haha, you're weird, like you're just a side character in her day. But deep down, you feel it, right? That subtle shift, that energy. It's not loud, but it's there. She's not chasing you, but she's not exactly walking away either. And somehow, you're stuck in the middle. So you start asking yourself, am I reading too much into this? Is this just wishful thinking? Or maybe the classic, if she liked me, she'd just say it, right? But here's the part they never teach you. Not in school, not in dating apps, not even in alpha male podcasts. Most women don't confess, they signal. And if you don't know how to read those signals, you'll spend your life missing what's right in front of you. Then wonder why she suddenly lost interest, when really, she was waiting for you to notice. See, women don't fall through words. They fall through energy, through the way you made them feel safe, without chasing, through the way you listened, without interrupting, through the way you didn't try too hard, and still held your ground. And most men, they blow it. They either miss the signs completely, or overreact to them like a puppy on Red Bull. That's where this video comes in, because today I'm breaking down the 7 clearest signs that she's quietly falling for you, even if she'll never admit it. These aren't your cliche. She giggled, bro. She wants you signs. These are subtle, almost invisible, but real. You'll laugh a little, probably cringe a bit when you realize you've missed a few. But by the end of this video, you'll walk away with a clearer lens. You'll stop second-guessing and start noticing the truth behind her silence. Let's decode her silence, one sign at a time, because nothing teaches better than watching a guy almost miss the signs, and then figure it out. The Stoic way. Let me tell you a little story. There's this guy. Let's call him Mike. Lives in Austin, works remote, drinks overpriced cold brew like it's his religion. He goes to this tiny coffee shop on South Congress. Nothing fancy, just quiet, great Wi-Fi, decent pastries. Now Mike's been going there every Thursday morning for months. Same table, same oat milk latte, same Spotify lo-fi playlist humming in the background. And then one week, She shows up, red hoodie, AirPods in, reading Atomic Habits. He thinks nothing of it. Next week, same time, she's there again. Third week, she's already at his table before he walks in, and she's sipping the same drink he always orders, suspiciously casual now. Mike, being a logical man, assumes this is coincidence. Maybe she just discovered the place. Maybe Thursdays are her reading days. But week 5 rolls around, she's there again. And this time she asks, "Hey, is this seat taken? You're always here." Figured I'd finally say hi. Mike plays it cool. But inside he's spiraling. Is she just friendly? Is this flirting? Or is it just Austin energy? But here's the truth. People don't repeatedly show up in your space by accident. Not in a city with 93 coffee shops within a 5-mile radius. Now here's where most guys mess it up. They either ignore it completely or jump in like it's a rom-com montage waiting to happen. But what Mike did was interesting. He didn't chase, didn't suddenly ask for her number. He didn't go full Nicholas Sparks on her. No cosmic soulmate speech. He just noticed, and he stayed still. That's stoicism in action. Not the loud Instagram quote version, but the real-life kind. Awareness without desperation. Presence without performance. See, Epictetus once said, "If someone shows you a spoon, don't try to convince them it's a fork." Translation: don't overread the situation, but don't underread it either. When someone repeatedly shows up in your space, in person or online, there's a reason. And that reason might not be love. It might be curiosity, a test, or just a vibe they're not ready to admit yet. But your job, as a grounded man, is not to leap toward it like a puppy chasing a laser pointer. It's to observe, to let her pattern speak louder than her words. Because, here's the thing, women rarely announce their interest with a megaphone, but they often announce it with proximity. So the next time someone starts orbiting your daily life, don't panic, don't push, just notice, and let your stillness do the talking. Now that you've seen the calm guy win by stillness, let's meet the one who stumbled into it accidentally. Let's talk about Josh. Regular dude, works in IT, lives in Denver, semi-addicted to fantasy football and cold brew. He met Chloe through mutual friends. At first it was casual, a few memes here and there, late-night chats about random things like whether cereal is technically soup. They argued passionately, and for a while she was the one starting most of the conversations. But then Josh decided to take a step back. Not in a manipulative way. He just realized he was always the first to reply, always the one keeping the energy going. So one weekend, he stopped texting first. Didn't ignore her, just pulled back a little. Nothing dramatic, just less available. And what happened next? 2 days later, Chloe sent him a message. "Hey, did your fish die or something? Haven't seen you post in days." Josh doesn't even own a fish. She made it up, which, to be fair, is hilarious, but also very revealing. She noticed his absence, and it made her uncomfortable, enough to break the silence. That one small message, masked in humor, wasn't about jokes. It was about attention, about being missed, but not admitted. That's the moment Josh realized. It wasn't about the fish. It was about the shift. When he pulled back his attention, she felt it, not logically, not even emotionally, but energetically. Now here's the thing. Chloe didn't say, "I missed your attention." "I realized I like talking to you," but she won't say that. That'd be too easy, too honest. And where's the fun in that? "Please validate me." Nope. She went with, "What happened to your imaginary goldfish?" That's what people do when they're not ready to admit their emotional shift. She turns that soft, "I miss you" into a weird joke about your goldfish. And you're left wondering if you just got flirted with or trolled. They camouflage it. Here's where most guys either miss the memo or start planning their imaginary wedding. They read one random message and think, "This is it. She loves me. Time to book the wedding DJ." Bro, she asked about your pet, not your blood type. Easy now. Josh didn't fall for the bait. He saw the game and stayed cool, which ironically made her panic instead. What Josh understood, and what most guys miss, is that emotional pullback triggers self-awareness in the other person. It's not a tactic, it's a mirror, and this is where Stoicism enters quietly. The Stoics teach us to observe more than we react, to let our presence be intentional, not needy, not performative, just centered. When you stop chasing, you give others space to feel the shift, and if they value your presence, they'll notice the absence. You don't have to disappear. You just have to stop overgiving. Seneca said, "Sometimes to win attention one must withdraw slightly." Okay, maybe he didn't say it like that, but he would've if he had a Tinder account. The modern version, that urge to be interesting all the time, that's ego in a tuxedo. Let it chill. Stop trying to prove your worth in every conversation. Let your silence speak where words would only clutter. So next time you feel like you're the one carrying the interaction, pause. Pull back just enough to create space, and watch what fills it. Either way, your silence says more than a 3-paragraph reply ever could. Sometimes, it's a goldfish. Sometimes, it's clarity. Either way, you'll see more than you would've. By pushing, there's this classic moment, and then there's that other moment, when she says one thing, but her eyes tell another story. You're talking to a girl, let's call her Rachel. You're mid-conversation about something random, like how airports have become mini shopping malls. She nods, smiles politely, then says something like, "Yeah, you're kinda weird," which sounds like the verbal equivalent of a light slap with a throw pillow. Soft, but confusing. So you back off a little. Tell yourself, okay, she's clearly not interested. Don't make it awkward. But then, she looks at you again. Just for half a second too long. Then quickly looks away like she just committed a crime. You catch it. That tiny flicker. The glance that wasn't meant to be caught. And now you're sitting there thinking, wait, was that nothing? Or was that something? Here's the deal. Words can lie. But eyes, they're snitches. No training, no poker face, just raw, unfiltered signals. Blinking in Morse code if you pay attention, and not even good at hiding it. What Rachel said was, "You're weird," but what her eyes did? They scanned your face like she was memorizing it for later. They lingered just enough to say what her ego wouldn't let her mouth admit. And in that second, you realize something powerful. There's a disconnect between what she says and what she feels. And that tension, that's exactly where attraction hides. In the space between what she says and what she can't say. Now, let's get one thing straight. Some women are professional poker faces. They'll roast you, tease you, hit you with the classic, "Ugh, you're annoying," all while their pupils dilate every time you speak. And if you're the kind of guy who only listens to what's said out loud, you'll miss everything that's said in silence, because attraction isn't always verbal. Sometimes it's visual, hesitation. It's the glance, the delay, the second look that wasn't part of the plan. And here's where Stoicism quietly walks in, wearing sunglasses and sipping black coffee. The Stoics taught presence, but not just the kind where you focus on your breath or count your blessings. They taught awareness, deep, grounded observation. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Learn to read what is not written." Now, did he mean Instagram captions and flirty eye contact at Whole Foods? Probably not. But the principle holds. Instead of chasing clarity through words, learn to recognize it in patterns, in behavior, in the way someone's body betrays the script they're trying to stick to. So when she says, "You're weird," but she can't help watching you walk away, don't panic. Don't gloat. Don't assume you've won. Just notice it. Store it. Let her reveal more over time, without needing to force the next move. Because emotional maturity isn't about decoding every look. It's about staying centered, even when the signals are mixed. So here's what you do. Next time a woman's words say no, but her eyes linger like they didn't get the memo, don't argue with either one. Just smile and let her wonder what you saw when you weren't even trying to look. Let me paint a scene for you. It's Saturday night. You're doom scrolling Instagram while waiting for your Uber Eats sushi to arrive. And suddenly, there it is. A story. Her, with some guy. Smiling, standing way too close. Caption? Just me and my bestie. Your stomach drops, but you try to act cool. Okay, bestie. Right. You squint like an FBI agent zooming in on his hand placement. You tap through the rest of her stories. She's at some rooftop bar, downtown. That one you mentioned liking 3 days ago. Coincidence? Maybe. But here's where it gets interesting. You decide to ignore it. You don't swipe up. You don't text. You don't even react with the fire emoji. Growth, right? 10 minutes later, you see something weird. She views your story, the one you posted earlier. Just a cup of black coffee and a Marcus Aurelius quote that nobody ever reads. She watches it. Twice. And suddenly, you realize this wasn't just a random post. This was a test. She dropped the bait, and now she's checking the line. Because sometimes, when a woman isn't sure how you feel, she'll stir the water. Just a little. Just enough to see. If you bite and if you don't, oh, now she's watching closer than ever. See, here's what most guys miss. They either blow up, send a passive-aggressive, looks like you're having fun, or worse, spiral into overthinking and ghost her completely. But here's the Stoic move, and it's subtle. You don't react. You observe. Because in that moment, it's not just about her post. It's about your ability to stay grounded when your ego wants to jump off a cliff. She's not trying to hurt you. She's trying to see something. trying to gauge where she stands and without making it obvious. It's emotional sonar. And if you flinch too hard, if you text something needy or defensive, you confirm exactly what she was testing for. But if you stay calm, centered, unshaken, you become the exact man she was hoping you were. And here's where Stoicism becomes more than just theory. Marcus Aurelius didn't write about Instagram stories, but he did say, "Be like the rock that the waves keep crashing over. It stands unmoved." Your version? Be the guy who sees the story, but doesn't take the bait. Not out of ego, but out of clarity. So what should you do next time? Simple. Pause. Notice. Let the moment pass through you, not into you. Because when she sees that her little test didn't shake you, not only does she respect you more, she starts wondering why you're so centered, so grounded, so unfazed. And that curiosity is exactly where attraction begins to deepen. Let's talk about Kevin. Kevin's a pretty chill guy, works in marketing, lives in Portland, has a bookshelf full of unread self-help books, like most of us. He's been casually chatting with a girl named Jess. Nothing serious, just the occasional reply to her stories, a shared meme, small talk, here and there. One day out of nowhere, Jess texts him, "Hey." Random question. "What book are you reading right now?" Kevin, being Kevin, sends back a photo of Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, with like 14 sticky notes poking out the side. A few seconds later she replies, Sounds kinda depressing. Do you even finish those?" "No, hi." "No, how's your day?" Just immediate commentary on his reading habits. Now Kevin's a little thrown off, like, what even was that? Why would she ask about the book just to dunk on it? But what he doesn't realize is, this wasn't about the book. She didn't care about Marcus Aurelius. She probably thought that was the name of a wine. What she was doing was poking the surface, trying to see what kind of guy he really is. Not in a deep soul-searching way, more like tapping the glass on a fish tank to see if the fish reacts. And Kevin? He's the fish. See, what Jess did isn't uncommon. When a woman's interested, but not ready to admit it, she'll send out little test pings. Not questions to get answers, but questions to read you. She doesn't want a book recommendation. She wants to see how seriously you take yourself. Whether you'll get defensive, or act like a try-hard philosopher bro who quotes Nietzsche at brunch. It's less about content, more about tone. And Kevin? Instead of getting annoyed or sarcastic, he just replied, "I like reading stuff that makes me uncomfortable. It keeps me honest. No over-explaining, no trying to impress, just a grounded short truth." And suddenly, Jess started asking more. Because when you don't flinch at a surface-level jab, you show depth. That's the Stoic principle in real time. You don't defend your ego. You let your actions and your energy speak for you. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens that troubles you. It's your opinion of what happens." Modern translation: when someone challenges you on something small, don't treat it like a courtroom. Treat it like an open mic. Smile, respond with calm, and move on. So next time she hits you with a random, "Is that book boring?" or "You really drink black coffee every day?" or "Are you always this quiet?" don't jump to justify. Don't try to win the interaction. Just answer honestly, gently, and let her curiosity grow from the steadiness you show. Because if she's asking, even in weird ways, she's watching. In another corner of this quiet truth, there's Ryan. Ryan's the kind of guy who overthinks everything. Like, everything. Grocery store self-checkout, existential crisis, too many red notification bubbles on his phone. Time to reevaluate life. He meets a girl, let's call her Maya, at a friend's game night. They end up in the kitchen talking about death. Not in a dark way, just philosophical. Ryan goes off about how he's been thinking a lot about mortality lately. Mentions this Stoic idea, memento mori, how remembering we're going to die actually makes us live better. Maya just listens. No jokes, no eye rolls, no damn bro, we were just playing Uno. She nods, says then goes back to her drink. Ryan thinks, well, that was too deep, and assumes he overshared himself into the friend zone. But the next day, Maya sends him a link, an article titled, "Why Facing Death Makes You More Alive," with no caption, no emojis, just the link. Now, that might not sound like much, but it hit different. Because she didn't need to follow up. She didn't have to remember what he said. She wasn't even part of that conversation for more than 5 minutes. But she chose to follow the thread. Not for herself. For him. And that's when Ryan realized she was paying attention to his mind. Not just his playlist or job title. Now, let's be clear. Most people don't listen to respond. They listen to reply. There's a difference. You say something deep. They nod, wait their turn, and hit back with, "Yeah, that reminds me of this podcast I heard. Anyway, enough about you." But Maya didn't do that. She sat with it. She let it land. And more importantly, she remembered. That's rare. And when a woman takes mental notes on the parts of you that don't benefit her directly, your thoughts, your doubts, your strange philosophical rambles, that's not small talk. That's resonance. It means she's tuned into the frequency of your inner world, not just your dating profile. And here's the Stoic angle. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to think, to feel, to love." That's what Ryan was sharing, his raw, unfiltered thoughts about being. And Maya, without even meaning to, practiced one of the most Stoic acts possible. She held space. She didn't try to fix, didn't try to label. She just witnessed. That's what connection looks like when it's not dressed up in flirty banter and emoji reactions. So what can you take from this? Next time you share something real, watch who leans in, who circles back later. Who remembers without being reminded? Because the one who listens to your soul, even when it's rambling about death and cold brew philosophy, that's someone who sees you, not just your highlight reel. And when she sees you like that, you don't need to perform. You just need to be still and be real. Meet Alex. Software engineer by day, existential overthinker by night. He's been prepping for this brutal coding interview with a major tech firm. Sleep deprived, low on confidence, surrounded by post-it notes and panic. He casually mentions it over coffee to Sarah, a friend he's been talking to on and off. Not expecting anything, just venting. 2 days later, Sarah sends him a Google Doc with practice questions, annotated answers, and a breakdown of the interview process that reads like she hacked into the recruiter's brain. Alex is stunned. He texts back, "Wow, this is a lot." "I don't know what to say," she replies. "Don't overthink it. I was bored. Also, don't mess this up. I have pride in my tutoring skills. No, I did this for you. No, do you like me now?" Just a soft deflection wrapped in sarcasm. But beneath that sarcasm was a rare kind of care. Not loud, not romantic, but steady. The kind that doesn't need credit. Just a man steady enough to receive it. And when Alex offers to take her out for dinner as a thank you, she goes, "Nah, just get the job." That's the real win. Now, if you've been around long enough, you know what this is. This isn't just being nice. This isn't about showing off or keeping score. It's what women do when they care, but don't want to make it obvious. They give quietly. They support in the background. And they downplay it with a shrug or a joke, because what they offered wasn't a favor, it was a signal. Now here's where most guys get it wrong. They try to repay too fast. They get awkward. They think, "I owe her something now." And that thought completely misses the point, because real care doesn't come with a receipt. When a woman helps you, without a spotlight, without needing validation, what she's actually doing is watching how you carry it, not how fast you pay her back. That's a Stoic principle in disguise. Marcus Aurelius never wrote a guide to decoding low-key affection. But he did say, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. In other words, don't make a fuss about someone's gesture. Don't dramatize it. Live in a way that honors it. Sarah didn't want dinner. She wanted to know if Alex took the shot seriously, that her effort wasn't wasted on a man who makes excuses, because attraction isn't always about fireworks. Sometimes, it's about reliability. And for a woman, seeing that she can support you, and that you'll rise, not shrink, that's magnetic. So what should you do the next time someone shows up for you, quietly? You don't need to make a big speech. You don't need to overperform gratitude. You just show them, through your growth, that their effort meant something. You become better, not for them, but because someone believed in you, even before you did. And that's how quiet loyalty builds loud attraction. This is a story about two guys, same office, same city, same crush. Her name's Lily. She worked in accounting, wore cardigans even in July, and somehow made spreadsheets look like magic. Now, the first guy, let's call him Brian. Brian was your classic nice guy on paper, reliable, respectful, always offering help. He'd walk Lily to her car, remember her coffee order, and drop casual compliments like, "You're so easy to talk to. I feel like I can be myself around you." Harmless, right? Except Lily never quite leaned in. She laughed politely, thanked him, but never asked about him, never initiated. Still, Brian kept going, convinced that if she really liked him, she'd just say it. And since she didn't, well, clearly she wasn't interested. One day, Lily posted a photo. Her at a local jazz bar. Brian didn't say anything. But the second guy? He noticed. His name was Theo. Theo didn't chase Lily. Didn't compliment her every move. Didn't try to win her over. He simply paid attention. He noticed that she always showed up at the break room around the same time he did, even when her team had no reason to be on that floor. He caught how she listened just a little too closely when he talked about the books he was reading, especially the ones without dragons or explosions. He saw the way her eyes flicked up every time he entered the room, and then flicked away like she wasn't trying to get caught. Theo didn't say much. He didn't ask for her number, didn't shoot his shot. He just stayed calm. He shared his thoughts when it made sense, walked away when conversations ended, smiled, but never tried to make her laugh just to be liked. And here's where things shifted. One day, he mentioned something in passing about how he'd been thinking of quitting social media for a while. Just tired of the noise. Lily didn't say much at the time, just nodded. The next morning, she left a sticky note on his desk. If you do quit, at least keep your Spotify public. Your playlists are better than coffee. No emoji, no love confession, just signal. Brian never saw that note. He was still trying to figure out why Lily stopped smiling when he brought her another latte. See, here's the thing. Brian believed in words. He waited for a green light in the form of, "I like you." Theo watched. Behavior, energy, space. He didn't interpret silence as rejection. He read between it. That's the difference. One guy chased approval. The other guy held still long enough for interest to reveal itself, not by asking, not by guessing, but by being present. And in the end, it wasn't the louder man that got her attention. It was the quieter one, who saw what she never said and didn't need her to say it. So here's the thing. She probably won't tell you, not in words, not in the way you've been trained to expect. No, I like you. No, I miss you. No billboard-sized confessions with fireworks and jazz hands. Instead, she shows up in small ways. Watches you from across the room a beat too long. Sends a meme that only makes sense if she's been paying attention. Brings up a random thought you shared 2 weeks ago, when you didn't think she was listening. It's not obvious, it's not loud, but it's there. The problem is most men miss it, because they're too busy chasing something flashier, too stuck in their heads trying to decode signals using logic, when what's being spoken is energy. Women communicate in waves, not bullet points. They speak through timing, proximity, tension, through the things unsaid. And you're used to clarity, to straightforward answers, to digital confirmation, seen, replied, interested. But this is analog. This is human. And sometimes the reason you don't see her pulling closer is because you're too busy looking for her to say she is. The truth is, the most meaningful things, they rarely announce themselves. They arrive quiet, unpolished, wrapped in nuance, not neon lights. And if you've been taught to only move when the path is spelled out for you, you'll keep missing what's already reaching toward you. Attraction isn't always pursuit. Sometimes it's permission. A silent invitation, a small space left open, just to see if you'll step into it with calm or with chaos. That's where the Stoic man stands apart. He doesn't rush, doesn't flinch at silence, doesn't panic when things feel vague. He lets the truth reveal itself over time, because he knows real connection doesn't demand attention, it earns presence. And when you learn to stay still, not out of fear, but from self-trust, you stop needing proof. You start seeing patterns. You start hearing the message under the message. You realize, maybe she wasn't cold, maybe she was cautious, maybe she was already opening up, just not in the language you were listening for. So before you write her off, before you assume there's nothing there, pause. Observe. Let her energy tell you what her words won't. And maybe, just maybe, you'll realize she was never that far away. Just waiting. Not for a perfect line, but for a man quiet enough to hear what she didn't say, and brave enough to respond without words. So ask yourself this: is someone quietly moving toward you, but you're too noisy inside to notice? If this video made you pause, made you notice something in your own story, then stay with us. Hit subscribe, not because we ask nicely, but because you want to keep growing in silence, with strength. And if there's someone you think needs to hear this, share it quietly, like a whisper. That's how this space grows. Not loud, but real.